cover, and you could tell Good morning, Chi.
Recording in progress.
Morning,
Morning,
Kilega.
Chair.
Am I audible?
You are audible, Chair.
Oh, okay. Just want to check the time. We check the members. Good morning, Honorable Diplock.
Morning, Chair. How are you?
Good, and how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Kumalo.
Morning, Chairperson. How are you this morning?
And Yapila Mama, all right now?
You're right, boss. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Just checking. Honorable Pitch, good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Morning, colleagues.
Morning. Good morning, DM Singh. I see that you are also here.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members.
Morning, Honorable Bilangulu. I see that your gadget is saying Honorable Chabane.
Yes, good morning, Chair.
Morning, Honorable Makasi. Good morning.
Morning, Chair.
I don't see Honorable Managa, Honorable Mkize, Honorable Temba, Honorable Paulson. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairperson. How are you?
Good, good, good. Are you good?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Honorable Mukwena, Julian, is she in? Okay, she's not yet in. I don't see Honorable Managa. I don't see DM Swartz. Okay. Honorable members and colleagues, I think let me take this opportunity and welcome all of you in our meeting. Welcoming honorable members, the Honorable DM Swartz, who is in the meeting, Honorable and the officials from the department, and stakeholders that are in the meeting, and our support staff. May I request that who's this person whose video is on? There's someone whose video is on. Makumala, can you mute your mic? Thank you. Let me take this opportunity, honorable members and colleagues, and welcome all of you in today's meeting. Chi, can you flight our agenda? I'm not going to do any opening remarks. This is a follow-up meeting of a meeting that we had on Tuesday. Not going to do any opening remarks. Can we zoom straight to apologies, honorable? Sorry, Kilega.
Yes, Chair. Apologies are from Minister Honorable George, Deputy Minister Swartz. Honorable De Block requested Chair to leave at 9:25 because he's traveling. And then the Chairperson of the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, Mr. Matibe, also requested to leave at 8:30 to attend a meeting in Joburg. And then, Chair, we have another apology from the DG, Ms. Shabalala. Thank you, Chair. Those are the apologies.
Okay, noted, Chair. Can I then get a mover for the adoption of the agenda? Can I get a mover for the adoption of the agenda? Makumala, I see your mic is on. You want to adopt the agenda?
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to all honorable members and officials that are in the meeting. Chairperson, I move for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kumalo. Honorable Makasi?
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to everyone in the meeting. I second the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you. Honorable members, I am now going to give over to Honorable DM Singh, who is going to do remarks. Then we will go to other items. Honorable Singh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. And once again, I greet you and all the colleagues, honorable members, and everybody on the platform. I note in the chat group that they want video on. I'm going to try, but I'm in a car between Pretoria and Johannesburg for a function, but I'll just try for what it is worth. I think there I am. Honorable Chairperson, I note that this meeting has been called for the Northwest Parks Board to report on outstanding matters in the main. But if you will allow me, Chairperson, to talk about a holistic strategy that is currently being compiled and in not wanting to overtake events and processes regarding
DM,
the
elephant. DM, you can switch off your video. They've seen that you are not a robot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I thank you very much for the opportunity to brief the Portfolio Committee thus far on what has happened post the elephant in Daba on the 12th and 13th of August 2025, which was hosted by us, the DFFE, and which was extremely well attended by stakeholders from different categories involved in elephant welfare and human conflict. Honorable Chairperson, members, the aim of the Indaba was to bring together key stakeholders to discuss the complexities around human-elephant conflict and to shape a national, unified response rooted in science, lived experience, and constitutional principles of environmental justice. The objectives of the Indaba were clear: to build a deeper understanding of elephants and management practices across the region, to create appreciation of the interface between elephants and people, to strengthen collaboration amongst SADC elephant range states, and to identify practical implementable solutions that allow both people and elephants to thrive. Let me pause to acknowledge the MEC from Northwest if she's online. I haven't noticed, Chair, if she's online. As progress, following the Indaba, a multi-stakeholder working group was established. And I was very pleased to note that we had this group consisted of people from all walks that were interested in animal welfare and also in the conflict. This working group includes representatives from national, provincial government, public entities, traditional leaders, and traditional health practitioners, the People and Parks Program representing communities, as well as industry, NGOs, and academic institutions. The working group, Honorable Chairperson, convened on the 29th of August 2025 and resolved that our department will facilitate meetings with relevant stakeholders to finalize action plans for identified hotspot areas in order to have site-specific interventions. A draft action plan has already been developed, which I had sight of yesterday, based on the deliberations at the Indaba. The working group has provided comments on this draft and significant consensus has been reached. The action plan, Honorable Chair, sets out broad resolutions, specific actions with timelines, and site-level interventions to address human-elephant conflict. And some of the things it includes 10 high-level resolutions, 8 environmental actions related to habitat, population dynamics and ecological management, 15 social actions addressing conflict mitigation, coexistence and community empowerment, 6 economic actions promoting the biodiversity economy and sustainable use and livelihoods, and 10 enabling actions covering policy reform, institutional arrangements, and cooperation. Honorable Chairperson, to ensure that the Indaba report is responsive and addresses needs that are site-specific for hotspot areas, it is critical that engagements with relevant affected provinces are convened. The hotspot areas identified include parts of KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Northwest, and Limpopo. This strengthening of the report will entail refining the timelines, responsible persons, targets, and associated costs of the actions that have been proposed for the hotspot localities. Several of the proposed actions under the above-mentioned categories and for the provincial hotspots depends on commitment from those provinces, which will enable us collaboratively to facilitate implementation on the ground. So, Chairperson, honorable members, the way forward is that these resolutions will be incorporated incorporated into the National Elephant Heritage Strategy and presented at MINMEC, which we've convened for the 3rd of October, where all the MECs and the ministers are present. We are confident that this collaborative effort will lay the foundation for a coherent national approach, one that promotes coexistence between people and elephants, protects our biodiversity, and supports sustainable livelihoods. I want to emphasize there will be specific interventions in the hotspot areas that I've identified within the broad framework of the resolutions. If the committee will permit, Honorable Chairperson, and I think I've had a discussion with you on this, we would like to return to this platform in November sometimes to present a complete and finalized action plan arising from this process. And I'm quite sure that will take us forward in dealing with issues that humans face and also the elephants face. So I'll pause at that, but just to indicate that whatever Northwest may suggest as interventions will have to be part of this broad framework developed by all stakeholders that were present. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Singh. I think we would appreciate, as the committee members, if you can share your remarks with us. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Chair. I've already sent it through to Chair Lega. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable members, I think I might have just forgot to welcome a new honorable member in our portfolio committee, Honorable Shaila Peters from Patriotic Alliance. She has just joined our portfolio committee. Welcome, Honorable Peters. And also we have Shorishni Govender, who is our new communications officer. Also welcome Shorishni Govender to our portfolio committee. Hopefully we will work hand in glove together. Thank you very much. Honorable Peters, if you can just show your face briefly so that we can see you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I might also
Morning,
like
Honorable.
to acknowledge the Deputy Minister as well as the MEC of the Northwest. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Shorishni, if you can just wave, show your face so that we can see our communications officer. Okay. Maybe she's busy. Can we flight the agenda again, Chi? Oh, and also acknowledge the presence of the MEC. When I was scrolling up, I did not see that she was present, and apologies for that. Okay, Honorable MEC, can we get an overview, a 15-minute overview from you? Thank you.
No, thanks, Chairperson, and good morning, honorable members. Let me also take this opportunity to present for you actually part of what I would have wanted to share is a summary made by the DM in terms of the broader development of the elephant management strategy, but key also, Chair, to indicate that it would have not been fair to the committee to continue to behave as if we are not aligned to what the committee requested from us. But
Can
the
you switch on your
presentation.
video, MEC? Can you switch on your video, please? They are requesting to see. Okay. Are you also in the car? You can switch off again.
All right. No, thanks, Chair. So we are here actually because of the recommendations of the committee that was given to us. Actually, the directive one is the inclusion of the institution that has actually brought the concern to the attention of the committee. Which Chairperson, in my view, that matter when the the acting CEO present, it will reflect the number of meetings that was attended by the same institution, and the names of those who attended were also in possession, Chairperson. Because of the pop year, I could not populate the attendance registers. That shows that the institution has always been consulted and it has always been part of the PTT. We strongly feel that we will not leave anyone behind. But what is key also, the second recommendation of the committee when we were here, Chair, was also to give a brief background of how do we want to carry animal or the elephant management, which I think the DM made it very clear that we are still at a ripe stage. We still want to take this matter as the national position. Northwest is at the forefront, but all these other provinces has initiated the same approach as a preventative measure. Chairperson, we must also indicate Madikwe in Northwest is a center which is dominated by concessions, and 90% of the concessions that are in Madikwe are actually not the residents, but they are making business in Madikwe. But this happened long time ago with the long leases that are there. But unfortunately, due to time, the communities around Madikwe have claimed that land. It now belongs to them. They are now the owners of the land, and which then says the Northwest have taken a position that they also have to benefit from whatever that is belonging to them, and they have a say. And that is why, as we do this part of implementation of the transformation position of the province, and the injunction to the economic growth, we had no choice but also to look into what the communities are saying. So the communities are very clear to say we need to manage our species to balance them as a responsible government, and all the necessary tools that we have to manage and to balance the ecosystem in a conservation space. We have lost our giraffes, we have lost quite a number of plants, we have lost some of our rhinos. We even have some of the species like your bears that are now getting endangered because the disruption that is made by one species. So we are responsible for all those. And then the legislative mandate, including the Section 24 of the Constitution, will be outlined by the last recommendation, Chair, which I think this that I'm presenting, Chairperson, is part of what we have presented. The only part that was a directive was to include the institution, the NSPCA, in the task team. We did not include them to be the full-time because they are governed by a legislation that speaks to animal welfare and not the animal management that is reflected in the NEMA and the NEMB. Now, every time when we have the challenge on the animal welfare, we have always been working with them. I have done that research, and I have done a collection of the days and the times that they were called to Madikwe to have a look and advise in terms of their professional mandate. So I will stop here, Chairperson. I will not go deeper. Or the last one that got also as a new information, Chairperson, last week is about the designations. It is very important, Chairperson, to note that the powers of designating officials who are responsible for the EMIs, who are responsible for the caring of our species in terms of compliance, is the responsibility of the ABC, and therefore we cannot live even a day or two without having such designations. We have designations of 134 officials, which some are grade 1, grade 2, up to grade 5, and majority are grade 5. They are in the Parks Board, and others are in the department itself. They are responsible, and the only redesignation that we have made are for those that have been involved in the criminal activities. Some of them are on bail, like for instance, the other one is on a 50,000 bail. He was arrested in Pumalanga with the rhino horns. the information I am having for all those that I have redesignated, they are 10. For purpose of phobia, I could not share the information, and because their matters are still in court. But in the interest of the committee, if I am to do it protectedly, so I can just dispose. I think that is also an element that we could not enclose in the report. But there's nothing like the withdrawal. It is a matter of when the PSA says at the end of the 60th month, the MEC can redefine the duties and reallocate. So it is just a matter of withdrawal from those that are implicated and those that are not responsible for compliance and the duties of the EMIs. So I'll pause here to save time for the acting CEO, but the content I have signed it off, I have looked to it, I think it's enough. And any other information that relates to the names of people, the only names of people that I have permitted, even the official to present as he presented in his report, is about the officials of the institution that participated in the meetings. And therefore it falls off to say we will come and we say they are included, they are part or they are included sitting in our meetings. And when they are in the meetings, I have gone through the minutes. There's no single minutes that shows that they raise any issues of concern in terms of their mandate, because all the people who are comprising the PTT are from different institutions, not only in the province, even other institutions that are related to all the legislations that governs elephant management. I will pause here, Chairperson, if you so allow, so that at least the acting CEO take you through the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, MEC. Acting CE, over to you. Briefly go
Good morning,
through the
Chairperson. Good morning, the members, and good morning, Honorable MEC. Thank you very much. If you allow me, with all respect, perhaps maybe we allowed the Chairperson just to touch a little bit before I come in. Through you, Chairperson, of course. Thank you.
Chairperson Matiba.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can you be brief
Honorable Chair.
also, please? Can you be brief also?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. Greetings to our DM as well as our MEC and the entire delegation of officials gathered here. Just to indicate briefly that as we operate in a constitutional democracy with policies, laws, regulations, and all sorts of management tools across our sector, we are determined, Honorable Chair, to operate within the confines of this law and policies at all material times, so that we can navigate the environmental sector in general, but also the biodiversity sector in particular. The Northwest Parks and Tourism Board is determined to bring normalcy at Madikwe Game Reserve and all other protected areas estate that are under our purview. We are striving, Honorable Chair, towards ensuring ecological equilibrium where all species within the game park will call Madikwe their home, from a dung beetle to an eagle that wants to put a nest in the tallest of the trees to start a new family, to the rhino that wants to have comfort in a bush thicket away from human and animal predators, to a giraffe that shouldn't be found to having to bend down in order to forage for food outside its bottom reach. As I conclude my remarks, within a few months of our appointment, we issued notices to all our private concessionaires for them to pay their fair share in Madikwe. We also challenged and continue to do so the evergreen contracts, some of which are close to 100 years, 99-year leads, so that we are able to adapt to the new reality of the new owners, as the MEC indicated. Because it can't be, in this day and age, in this democracy, have a park that doesn't allow ordinary members of the public, let alone the owners, the new owners of the park. So we are determined, Chairperson, to make sure that both the ecology, the park, the people, our private concessionaires thrive, and not a one-party thrive by sucking the blood of the rest of the ecosystem. We are also committed to work closely with all our stakeholders, but also not to do so by feeding a trough or a pipeline of emotional tirade, either to our stakeholders or from our stakeholders. We want to work closely so that we make sure we save this sector that is supporting 1.5 million jobs in this country and contributing 8.3% to the GDP. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson Matibe. Acting CEO, Dunga.
Yeah, thank you very much again, Chairperson. I must also recognize the DM who is also on the platform. Good morning to all of you. If I can just maybe request that the presentation be flagged, and then we can kickstart.
We can see the presentation, Mr. Dunga.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'll use a different screen then, because on my side it's not appearing, but it's fine. On the background, Chairperson, this presentation follows from the previous appearance to the same committee, which was held virtually on the 10th June 2025, where in written responses to questions that were raised in that said committee were also made and forwarded duly to the Secretariat of the committee. And therefore, seeks only to present ongoing work and progress of the PETT, which is the Provincial Elephant Task Team, and of course, relating to this subject matter. And we will respond to some of the additional questions of the committee that then came through. I must say also in the next slide, Chairperson, that as those who are bound or duty bound and mandated to conduct this work to ensure that there's biodiversity conservation in this country, we are bound by Section 24 of the Constitution that requires that we have reasonable legislative and other measures that we can put in place to ensure that the environment is protected for the benefit of present and future generations, including through promoting conservation, securing ecologically sustainable development, and the use of natural resources. Chairperson, it is our commitment in the next slide that we reiterate to effective and sustainable solution to the elephant management in the provincial reserves that we're facing currently. This includes the economic, social, and environmental considerations of the sustainability. The commitment is further to the policies and legislation that governs the sector. And as the PETT is proceeding with its work, management continues to manage the situation on the ground very closely and actively so. Our commitment further reiterates issues of transformation and ensuring solutions that seek to benefit community landowners. whose land is subjected for continued conservation in that place, including Madikwe. This should include measures towards community participation into and the revised ownership patterns of the mainstream economic value chains of the reserve itself. Furthermore, with our commitment, we therefore commit ourselves to the implementation of the sustainable solutions based on adaptive, scientific evidence that are guided by policy. As I said, we recognize the relevant white paper in the sector, the statutory laws that are there, the relevant norms and standards, and other tools that are in place to manage these species, the elephants, and of course to manage our ecosystems holistically. There was an issue about the NSPCA chairperson. We thought we make a slide about that. The slide that says the NSPCA matters. I think Honorable MEC already said it well that the NSPCA comprised stakeholder forum on Madikwe and Pilanesberg elephants issues, and then that's the forum that we cannot ignore. And of course, their recent participation in the stakeholder forum held in Pretoria, Sunby, on the 26th August 2025. That's the last stakeholder engagement that we had. And then they were represented by Mr. Douglas Voliter and Ms. Megan Schroeder in that particular meeting. We continue to involve them where it is required, and NSPCA have been involved from the onset, and in fact assisted even on site, which I reported the previous meeting that the photographs that they're showing you there, they've taken them from Madikwe, wherein we had allowed them to go in because it's their mandate to deal with issues of welfare. And then they were able to even participate where euthanasia was needed for the battled or embattled elephants during the crisis. And the PETT itself, the preliminary report is expected to be submitted through the MEC for DDEC by end of September 2025, and it will then include all other issues raised in the questions by the committee, including the elephant population management strategies and interventions that are needed. And at this stage, it's a bit premature for us to report on those, but they will be embedded in that particular report. And I've also heard the DP on the side. The elephant heritage strategy is still on the way, so that will also be informed by the reports that will come out from this, which is done by the PETT. Now, the other issue is issues around transformation challenges, and I heard my chairperson was beginning to touch on that. Chairperson, Madikwe is 60,000 hectares in extent. Very importantly, it is wholly owned by government and communities that are restored successfully as the landowners through a restitution process of this country. The reserve boasts about 34 exclusive lodges that are owned privately, of which only 2 are owned by communities, and some still are, of those 34 lodges are still enjoying, in today's terms, the 99 years evergreen lease agreements. And those are things that we seek to look into and review with time. With little to no access chance for ordinary citizens to access Madikwe because of the prices that are there, it can only be afforded by foreigners. And 2 of the lodges are community partnered lodges, as I said, only 2 as we speak now. Chairperson, but this information is to say we are yet to find this or secure the meaningful transformation that we hope to achieve, especially in Madikwe and all other parks that we have within the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, even for those communities that now own the land. So those are the realities that we face as we deal with these challenges, the ecosystem challenges and the species challenges on Madikwe. Currently, there's 2 valid land claims that were registered in Madikwe, and 33,530 hectares were successfully transferred and restored to 2 communities. That's Barokholkadi Mautwe and the Bapalane Basisowe. And so far, only a signed land incorporation agreement for the 4,100 hectares of land outside Madikwe, that is outside the reserve, currently, which is now being developed by a community assisted by a private sector partner. And we are hoping that at some point we'll get to drop the fences and conjoin them with Madikwe, if all is good. The 40-bed community lodge development and traversing rights inside Madikwe have not seen successes with difficulties finding sustainable partnerships. So even if we give these communities allocation of these beds, they are sitting with them, Chairperson. They cannot be able to develop themselves. They do not get the right mechanism to find good financing to be able to do this. And all these communities need to be assisted to develop and upgrade and operate profitably in that space. Therefore, the board seeks to rectify the current transformational challenges that we face. After all, it is their land at risk of total degradation should the elephant overpopulation challenge be left unresolved. They are the people who suffers the most because their land will be the one that will be degraded. The great elephant census estimated a continental population of 450,000 in 18 countries. That's 93% of all elephants, of which just over 339,000 elephants are found in the Southern Africa. Elephant numbers continue to increase across areas of Southern Africa. This raises concern for the impact on biological diversity. And landscape fragmentation, fences, water supplementation, as well as the shape and size of some conservation areas, restrict range and intensify the effects of elephants on land. Human-wildlife conflict encounters from elephants are also escalating. I must say that the last one we had in the Madikwe was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where a French tourist had to be airlifted to a hospital in Johannesburg because he was trampled to near death by the elephant inside the lodges. And that's what's happening. Those are the realities that we face. We have suffered some losses of life in both Madikwe and Pilanesberg due to elephants, including tourists and some of the employees of the reserves, including the rangers. The Madikwe and Pilanesberg Nature Reserves elephant population density shall continue to grow if they are not managed actively. We are in the crossroads. We have to do something about this. Elephants were introduced in 1980 and 1995 in Pilanesberg and Madikwe, respectively, and their growth rate has been converted. It is the highest globally in the world. There's no other growth rate of elephants compared to that in Madikwe currently. And Pilanesberg stands at about 457 elephants with an optimal stocking level of 200. So we're about 257 above the tally. Madikwe stands at about 1,633 with the optimal stocking level of about 500 elephants, of which we already experienced 75 mortalities in August 2024. And that's when the NSPCA were also part of the work on the ground. The Provincial Elephant Task Team, which was formulated by the MEC, and of course through the Minister of DFFE who supported it, is to find solutions, recommendations, applying policies, norms and standards, and legislation. The preliminary report of the PET is aimed for submission end of September, as I already said, and recommendations will too be informed by science and legislative tools, and that we hope. Veterinary legislation and other relevant ancillary legislations are also being considered. Hence, there is this consultation to and from with other parties. The PETT investigates elephant population challenges, suggests sustainable solutions, and it is made up of relevant officials from the DFFE, SANParks, SANBI, DDECT, and the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board. All those people are mandated to deal with issues of wildlife management and conservation. To that end, I repeat, they are mandated to do that. And that is also respecting their role and their expertise within the sector. However, the two research institutions, so that they can also be able to tap into the available knowledge, is the Northwest University that has a representative in that testing. And of course, what we call the Africa Wildlife Economy Institute, which is under the Stellenbosch University. And all those together, they comprise the core PETT that has been appointed. And the work of the PETT is ongoing, and necessary consultations are being carried out with relevant stakeholders. We can't do this without the stakeholders. The scope of work is within the two reserves, Madikwe and Pilanesberg, but it will also investigate elephant populations across the province. And as if you had also the DM and the MEC saying that this body of work will also be used contributory to the national work that is currently underway regarding the elephant heritage strategy. This will construct a framework of the dynamics of elephant populations and a mechanism through which they influence ecological, social, and tourist objectives. Using this framework, the PETT will define the elephants in Madikwe and Pilanesberg's current role in achieving the objectives and aspirations of the reserves. Given these ecological mechanisms, Chairperson, what interventions will address the underlying cause of elephants influencing the ability to achieve the park's objectives will be a question that will be answered. We'll also define the risks and opportunities which are associated with these interventions that we are going to put in place. How can one mitigate these risks and maximize the opportunities, of course, for the benefit of all, including the communities? Review the elephant management plans, develop recommendations, specifically in terms of the proposed interventions and monitoring the outcomes of these interventions, as well as the identification and recommendation on additional information to be collected on elephant management going forward. The task team had a work session with stakeholders in the two reserves to analyze the impact of elephants on the reserve's objectives. That was in August. Stakeholders included the CPAs, those are the communal property associations, members of the communities, those are the owners of the land, the concessionaires, business on the land, and of course the department and the parks board. We identified the following as the key objectives on which elephant impact need to be assessed. How do elephants help or prevent us achieving our tourism aspirations? How do elephants influence our cultural heritage aspirations, influence our community beneficiation aspirations, influence our biodiversity conservation aspirations, and influence our effective park management aspirations? And all those things were looked into.
Mr.
This
Denga?
was also then followed by the
Mr.
national
Denga?
stakeholder.
Mr. Denga?
Chairperson?
Can you summarize, because I've noticed that this is the same presentation that you presented when we had a meeting on the 10th. So as members, we are familiar with the presentation. Can you summarize, please, so that we can allow members to ask questions and also allow NSPCA to do their presentation? Can you summarize?
Not a chairperson. I think maybe the slide that has to do with the environmental management inspectors, although MEC did touch on that, we just wanted to say that this was one of the questions that we needed to respond to. We want to bring it to the attention of the members that due to the high number of rhino poaching cases and following a number of allegations involving some of the internal inspectors and enforcement officers, that some of them are in court as we speak. MEC had to conduct a review of EMI designations, and that is allowable. That is something done within the legislation. And following this review, EMI powers were designated to strengthen compliance and enforcement, restoring the dignity of the force, of the EMI force within the province. And that needed to be done. I must say, as a way forward, Chairperson, we did welcome the questions that were posed to us, and then we responded to them. And then in conclusion, we understand the importance of the following: a structured process in unraveling the complexities and dynamics of elephant management in the ecological, social, and economic context of each park. This process will need to be defended by all of us. At some level, the PETT will need to demonstrate that the opinions of all stakeholders have been considered in final analysis and recommendations. Hence, we did place that stakeholder consultation even on a national scale. Hence, we hosted it at Sunby. And even some of the stakeholders that are not necessarily from the province were invited to that. So we continue to work with all our stakeholders, including the NSPCA. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Danga. NSPCA, can you briefly do your presentation? 15-minute presentation.
Good morning, and thank you, Honourable Chair, and good morning to the honourable members. I'm going to switch my video off. We are not presenting doing a presentation as such. We were going to do more of a feedback session. I just do need to. There's several matters that do need correction. That the NSPCA have not been a party to the elephant task team, that the provincial task team, despite an instruction from your honourable self, Skanshaw. We were sent a letter to say we were invited to a special committee meeting on the 13th, and we were instructed that we must provide avail the necessary documentation. That again was not an instruction from the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee Chair. The chairperson at that stage, you made it clear that the committee was instructing the NSPCA be included in the provincial task team. And further in those minutes, it stated the instruction is not up for discussion. And in addition, the committee is directing that the minutes of all previous task team meetings be shared with the NSPCA, and written confirmation must be submitted to the committee confirming the NSPCA has been included in the team. We have not been included in the team. I don't know whether the honourable members have received confirmation that minutes were sent to us, which they haven't been. We can't attend a meeting when we don't have minutes of meetings that have happened before, because we can't prepare adequately for that. So that would be putting the NSPCA on the back foot. With respect to the NSPCA having been involved from the onset and even assisted on site with the euthanasia of elephants, the NSPCA did not euthanize any elephants. The NSPCA assisted in identifying elephants that were severely compromised. The further concern is that there was a reference to trophy hunting, which also came up at the workshop that we were invited to. And at that workshop, where myself and my colleague Megan Schroeder were mentioned, despite reference to the POPIA Act earlier, with other members not being allowed to be named, that was obviously during that session. Trophy hunting had also, I think, come up at that stage, and it is our view that you can't even consider trophy hunting at this stage, because the lack of insight, the lack of transparency from the province in which way they were managing or what considerations have been given in terms of the elephant norms and standards, which state culling as an absolute last resort. I think we're skipping a few steps. We need to consider culling. I mean, trophy hunting is already being mentioned as an option, which wouldn't really help. Professor Sam Ferreira even explained this before, that in some of his lectures, that the teenagers or the calves around 3 to 4 year olds would be the animals identified for culling. There would be no trophy hunter that would be looking to secure a trophy from an animal that young. That's not what a trophy hunt is all about. So that should be off the table straight away. What we do require, though, is what we would like to have, and I think it's a public interest matter, is who is on the parliamentary elephant task team. And also the reason we saw that the several institutions that are named on there, you'll notice that the NSPCA were absent and not on that list. But why are NGOs that have incredible elephant experience, why have they not been included on those task teams? It makes absolutely no sense that you're looking at research. You've got universities involved. The NSPCA has an animal ethics unit that serves on ethics committees with universities. Yet again, we seem to have been excluded. So, and I apologize, honourable members, if I'm coming across as a little bit upset, but I am upset because these are incredibly sentient animals. We're talking all these problems have come about through the mismanagement of the elephant population from the very start. We know through the workshop that the Humane World for Animals, formerly HSI, had offered support. They had offered to put in contraceptives.
Chairperson.
Yes, Honorable Kumalo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, can I be disruptive a little bit? SPCA, you have said they don't have the presentation, but now Mr. Douglas is presenting in this committee. I don't think that is fair, Chair, because we need that presentation in writing. I don't know which route are we taking in this meeting, because we were expecting presentations to be in writing. He indicated himself when he starts speaking that they don't have the presentation, but now is presenting to this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kumalo. I think let's just give him, Honorable Kumalo, to wrap up, and we require that presentation. Mr. Douglas, just wrap up so that we can go to questions.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Yes, a presentation can be done by a verbal presentation. That's what I was led to believe.
You don't have to respond. You are out of order now. Don't respond.
Okay.
Just
My
wrap
apologies. Okay, I will wrap up quite quickly. So, the fact remains that the NSPCA and other NGOs that are really relevant to the discussion on the way forward have to be involved in any further task teams, and they should be included on the provincial elephant task teams to share experience and to get the best out of the meetings and to consider animal welfare as we should be. I'll wrap it up there, and I'm quite happy to put this in writing. Thank you.
Please do that, Mr. Wallater. Honorable members, We've received a presentation from Northwest, from the MEC who did her remarks, and the Chairperson Matibe who also did his remarks, and also Mr. Denga who did the presentation, followed by the verbal presentation from the NSPCA. I am now going to note hands. I see the hand of Honorable De Block. It will be followed by Honorable Makasi, Honorable Kumalo, in that order, followed by Honorable Mukwena. In that order, also Honorable Bilangulu. She is unable to raise her hand. I am noting, just received a message now. Noting your hand also, Honorable Bilangulu, after Honorable Mukwena. Those are the few hands so far that I'm noting. In that order, honorable members.
Thank you, Chairperson. My video is on. I'm going to turn it off as I don't have the best connection. Chair, I'd like to firstly just thank you for prioritizing this meeting and pushing it forward on our agenda. And I'd also like to welcome Ms. Governor and Honorable Charlotte Peters. I hope you enjoy our committee. I'd also like to encourage the proposal from DM Singh to present the proceedings of the Elephant Indaba to the committee, and perhaps at the same meeting we can have the PETT present their report that they say will be the NWPTB.
Okay. Just
Yes.
try to fix your where you are sitting. I think you keep on breaking. But you can continue, Honorable De Block.
Okay, apologies for that, Chairperson. I hope it's better now.
Yes.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, you are clear now.
Okay, wonderful. Chairperson, the NWPTB and DDEC had 6 non-negotiable directives from yourself, and they've not managed to deliver on a single one. The NSPCA is not in the provincial task team. The minutes were not shared. There was no report of an oversight visit. There was no proposed management plan, no written response to the NSPCA presentation, and the written responses to the portfolio committee were 2 months late. I think this is at the point of willful disobedience and blatant disrespect to yourself, to the committee and to Parliament, and I do think we should consider reporting them to the House Chairperson or the Speaker for that. I think this is completely unacceptable. They've said in the meeting that the NSPCA does not have a mandate to be involved in animal management. However, there is legislation that does instruct management to have a duty of care, which includes animal welfare and well-being. And as they admit themselves, the NSPCA is mandated in those spheres. There is nobody else who fulfills those functions legally. So there is your legislative mandate for their inclusion on the PETT. Chairperson, there's no answer still on the issue of contraception and other non-lethal management options. They've ignored these for years, despite there being a signed agreement in place since 2022 and offers since 2020 or possibly 2019 to do contraception on the reserve, and in Pilanesberg as well, which they indicate is over their management threshold. Yeah, this NGO has the budget, has the capacity. All they're waiting for is a green light. They've been stymied and blocked for 4 years now, at least, that I'm aware of, and I think it's completely unacceptable. Mr. Denga seems to now have shifted to a community-focused transformation agenda for this issue, but if they really cared about communities, they would have acted long ago to prevent us getting to this crisis level using
We have lost you, Honorable De Block. Honorable De Block, we have lost you. Okay, Honorable Makasi. But I think we have captured what Honorable De Block raised before he got lost.
Greetings, Chair, to everyone in the meeting. I will switch off my video. Was just showing myself. Chair, On the presentation by the Northwest or the MEC and the two gentlemen that presented out of our meeting of the portfolio the last time, here are the issues that I would want to be clarified on. The NSPCA is referring to a meeting that they were invited to, which, if I heard correctly, was after our portfolio. I think he said on the 13th. I'm not sure whether they did attend or not. They were invited by the team that I assume is the one that is part of the meeting. In addition to that, the MEC also indicated that the NSPCA is part of attending meetings that were called by them. I would just want to understand now the meetings that the MEC is referring to, which the NSPCA is attending, and the one of the task team that they want to be part of, which we in the last meeting said they must be included. What is the difference between the two teams or committees or whatever that they call it? Because now I'm having a situation of now being, a bit confused or out of balance and not understanding that they are involved or they're not involved at all. So that we as the committee are then clear of what is it that we want to happen. If they're involved in attending meetings, what are those meetings about? And are they able to then, participate fully and raise their issues in that particular fora? Or if it's a matter of a national meeting where it involves other provinces or whatever, I just want to be clarified on that part, Chair. Then two, I think on the issue that he raised, that elephants are compromised and vis-a-vis what the DM Singh said earlier, that the issue of elephants management is going to be attended to in this meeting that he referred to, which I think we should then take that one and pack it aside, maybe after that engagement that they're going to have with what the DMS said will then be addressed into that meeting. The other thing, Chair, that I want to check with the MEC and the team that presented on the issue of the land ownership at Madikwe. I happened to do a lot of Googling and research around what's happening around Madikwe and what information I could get other than the presentations that were given to us in the last meeting. And I picked up that there is a particular process that is taking place, delays and, some other in terms of the restitution process and some other beneficiaries that is not clear from the information that I read from, which if we do have a sufficient time, Chair, be allowed to at least take us through if they can, in terms of that, so that I can be able to leave the meeting understanding what is actually the process there. On the beneficiation and, the private process that has been indicated in the leases of 99 years and whatever, I would want to check with the department through the MEC, what is the direct involvement of the local community there in terms of them benefiting in what is happening there. when even if it is privately owned, those particular resorts or ezanto zokungcebeleka, man, Chairperson, are the communities around there benefiting in terms of working there? Are they included in terms of, all of what our portfolio is interested in communities having a better inclusion process into the whole thing? And lastly, Chair, from the presentation, I picked up certain issues which I want to be specific and check on the issue of the preliminary report of the PETT, which is supposedly to be released at the end of this month. Is there a date for when at the end of the month? And then also in the previous meeting, it was mentioned that the non-lethal methods are not yielding the intended results. Have all non-lethal avenues been explored now? And what are the contributing factors to their ineffectiveness? And in this regard, what action has been taken between the previous meeting and today? And lastly, Chair, I would also take the same vein in welcoming the new member of the PA and the communications person. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Makasi. Honorable Kumalo.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Let me also take this opportunity to greet all honorable members, our officials that are in the platform, and all stakeholders. Chairperson, let me take this opportunity to welcome and appreciate the presentation from Northwest. But I'm just having some few questions that I want to ask for clarity. One, what have been the outcome of the consultation that have been conducted with various stakeholders? As the presenter have said that they've done the consultations, were the surroundings communities consulted regarding the planned course of action? Secondly, Chair, what are the key recommendations found in the National Elephant Heritage Strategy? Could maybe the presenter shed that heritage strategy with this committee? What has been done to minimize the human-elephant conflict, wherein elephants damage infrastructure, raid crops, and threaten people, leading to conflict? Lastly, Chair, how do you intend to ensure that the marginalized and previously disadvantaged people of these surroundings communities participate in the mainstream wildlife economy? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Makumalo. Honorable Mokoena.
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to everyone on the platform. Chair, let me take this opportunity and appreciate and welcome the presentation from the Northwest team. Chair, I've got a few questions here. I just want to check the control of alien and invasive flora was cited as one of the challenges at the Madikwe Game Drive. I just want to check if ever this has been addressed. And then what is the actual plan that you are proposing as a measure to deal with the crisis in hand? And also you mentioned the intention to establish platforms from engagement to facilitate resource mobilizations. What kind of resources are these? From whom are they required? And what purpose will they serve? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mokoena. Honorable Paulson.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the officials. And welcome, Honorable Peters, and welcome, Sureshni. We're looking forward to working with you. Chairperson, it's there's an emergency here because the elephant density example in Madikwe is 1,633 versus 500 optimally. So this is a dangerous level. And what I don't get is an immediate action to address this particular problem, because if we don't mitigate it, we face serious ecological damage, human-wildlife conflict. So the report is not saying what they will do specifically, or what is something should be done now, not wait for the outcome of the report, but there should be mitigation strategies now already. So what concrete strategies or plans are being developed to address these specific environmental constraints within both Madikwe and Pilanesberg? Also, the PTT comprises various government and research institutions. So what mechanisms are in place to ensure that there's impartiality and to prevent potential conflict of interest amongst these diverse stakeholders when formulating recommendations, especially if those recommendations might impact the respective institutional mandates or resources? And also, lastly, Chairperson, the management's approach is planning for euthanasia where applicable, culling and selective trophy hunting. But tenders for trophy hunting were suspended due to outcries of non-hunting voices of the concessionaires and for broader consultation. So what is the current status of plans for euthanasia and culling? And are these options still actively pursued? And how will potential public and stakeholder objections to these methods be managed? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Paulson. Honorable Beach.
Thank you very, very much, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to all the officials. I want to thank the department for their presentation. I think there's quite a number of concerns, and I just perhaps want to highlight a number of them. But I think I just want to say that I could not agree more with Member Paulson. I think he has really succinctly put the situation to the committee. I think this is firstly an extremely sensitive matter. But despite the sensitivity of the matter, the continuous discussion surrounding this crisis is leading to the further perpetuation of the situation in which we find ourselves. It's very concerning for me that there seems to be a number of stakeholders that place before the committee and before the various management institutions various obstacles to action, which is actually exacerbating the position that we find ourselves in. Now, let me categorically state that I'm extremely concerned about the lack of management activities, specifically from the Northwest government, in dealing with this issue. This is clearly their mandate and something that should have been addressed a long time ago. But be that as it may, we are now in an extremely precarious position where an ecological disaster is before us. South Africa in particular, and Southern Africa generally, sits in an amazing position where we have an overabundance of wildlife to such an extent that we have more of an issue in regards to managing of wildlife and finding space and available resources for the wildlife, as opposed to other areas such as East Africa that is being decimated through poaching with decreasing numbers of animals. And we must take cognizance of the various economic activities which have perpetuated the numbers of wildlife that we find within our communities. And it is the very private investment of various stakeholders that have led to a real explosion in biodiversity and conservation activities. So I very much appreciate what Member Paulson indicated in this regard. And I think it's critical for us now to take some form of concrete action in regards to moving this process forward. I think Madikwe as a case study will be very important for us, not only for the Northwest, but specifically for the entire South Africa, and looking at the elephant management plan in general. And I believe that it is important for various NGOs that have, let's say, different mandates to bring other options to the table, be it contraceptives, and of course, translocations are extremely important. But those cannot be held as the only alternatives when crisis proportions have taken place now. There's already been talk about the impacts on large herbivores such as giraffes, let alone the impact to vegetation. And once ecological collapse occurs, it will ultimately be at the detriment to the elephant population in general. And we cannot be accused of harboring and hoarding of animals at the expense of the ecology. So, Chair, I am very concerned about some of the management activities that have taken place from Northwest. I'm very concerned about the environmental management inspectors. I think we need to get clarity in regards to the activities that are happening there. I think it's very important that the SPCA be included in any actions that are taken so that we can ensure that these are above reproach and are scrutinized and are of the highest international standards. But that does not preclude us from taking concrete actions in this regard for the benefit of not only the elephant population, but for conservation in South Africa generally. And I do believe that it is important that we find general revenue streams to ensure that there is a economic sustainability to any management actions that take place, but not at the expediency of animal welfare. And I think those two can be made, to be congruent. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Beach. Honorable Managa.
Chairperson.
Followed by Honorable de Block, then lastly will be Honorable Ilangulu.
Yes, thank you so much, Honorable Chair. My apologies. Technology this morning is dealing with me, Chair. However, let me come to what I want to deposit into this meeting. Honorable Chairperson, when the acting CEO came last, when he was presenting before the committee,
He said Madikwe was officially established in 1991, and it was established as a joint venture between the government and local communities and private sectors. And then he also said about 219 elephants were introduced to Madikwe Game Reserve. As a listener, I thought maybe the problem at Madikwe started when the elephants from Zimbabwe, Ghana region were introduced back then. But when I look at the presentation that was presented before us, Honorable Chair, the elephants that were introduced in 1992 and 1993 were not the cause of the problem, because already they had elephants that were there at Madikwe. But to my questions now to the acting CEO are as follows, Honorable Chair. Maybe I won't be fair if I direct them to acting CEO alone, because he's not the one who was in the management of these elephants. Honorable Chairperson, I want to check, number one, just hold on for a moment. I want to check, do they acknowledge that the current elephant densities reflect overstocking? And if so, why this has been allowed to persist? Because now we are sitting with a problem, because we are having the populations, we are having the elephants that are overpopulated. And then on the issue of mortalities, what were the primary causes of these mortalities? Was it natural factors? Is it because of density stress? Or is it because of human-wildlife conflict? And then at what point did the reserve management recognize that elephant numbers had exceeded carrying capacity of the park? And what interventions were considered but not implemented? The last one, how do they plan to balance ecological sustainability with tourism revenue pressures that may incentivize maintaining high elephant numbers? And why has there been inconsistency between earlier submissions to this committee and your current presentation regarding the elephant management challenges? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Manaka. Honorable de Block, followed by Honorable Belangolo. Lastly will be Honorable Mkiz.
Thank you, Chairperson, and apologies for dropping off. Luckily, our national carrier is running late, so it's bought me some time. Chair, and I hope the connection is better now. I think I dropped off in the middle of my point on contraception and the fact that there's an MOU that's been in place for a number of years. And despite that, no contraception has taken place, despite the fact that there is budget capacity from outside of the department to do this non-lethal measure, which is in their own elephant management plan. And I'd like an answer to why that has not happened. Then, Chair, there's been no science presented to us to justify the claims of overpopulation. There's been the carrying capacities expressed, but as I said in the last meeting, we don't manage reserves anymore by carrying capacity. We do it by thresholds of ecological concern, and that requires an ecological analysis, which we haven't seen. And we have to work on facts if we're going to manage populations of wildlife. So I'd like to get some feedback on that. Where are the scientific studies? Where are the ecologists at the reserve? And where are those pieces of data? Okay, on a similar note, the MEC said that in her remarks that they've lost giraffes, they've lost rhinos, there's even bird species that are going endangered. But Chair, in the responses to the questions that were given to us in written form, the response was that no other browsers have been affected. There's been very minimal deaths of buffaloes and warthogs, but otherwise nothing has been affected. So which is the right answer? It's a small question, I guess, in the broader scheme of things, but if you are giving conflicting answers, then you are misleading Parliament, which is an offence. Chair, also, Madikwe is a tourism project primarily. It's there to create jobs. It's be an economic driver. Trophy hunting and culling are massively controversial. They are very likely to adversely affect the tourism operations, very likely to adversely affect the communities and the benefits that they're supposed to derive from this land. I don't think that's being taken sufficiently into account, and I'd like a response on that. Chairperson, also just remain unconvinced that there will be the capacity to deal with the management of the meat and the carcasses under the Meat Safety Act. This is quite a stringent act for very good reasons, and I understand that feeding local communities is one of the secondary benefits of this plan, but there is a significant logistical requirement to that kind of operation, and I'm not convinced, and I haven't seen anything to give me hope that we can carry out that scale of an operation. So I'd like a response on that. The makeup of the PETT doesn't seem to have sufficient tourism representatives, doesn't seem to include some of the foremost experts on African elephants, like the IUCN specialist group on that species. The welfare organizations we've talked about, the NSPCA and Humane World for Animals, who are actively involved in management of elephants in those reserves and have been for a while. I don't think it's a sufficient makeup for me at this point, and I'm sure my colleagues will agree. On a related note to Dr. Managa's point, this is something that's been a long time coming and should have been seen from a mile off. So I ask again, as I did in the last meeting, who's been fired? Where are the disciplinary hearings? Where are the investigations into the mismanagement and the lack of activity and management action up to this point? You don't go from 200 elephants to 1,200 elephants overnight. There are population censuses that are carried out on which they would have been made aware of these increases, yet they've done nothing. And if they really cared about those tourism operations, the jobs, the communities, then something would have been done long, long ago. Jay, at the moment, it just looks like they're treating Madikwe as an elephant farm. They're breeding up elephants, and now they want to take them off, and they want to feed communities. Suspiciously close to the local government elections, it has to be said. By the time this rolls around, it's all very, very suspicious. It's all very disappointing. And now we have highly sentient, highly social, and internationally relevant animals that are under threat as a result. And I ask again, where is the consequence management around this? And what are we going to do in the immediate term while these new elephant management plans are being drawn up and guidelines and updates to the norms and standards? We can't just sit on our hands and do nothing. Chairperson, as Honourable Paulson, Peach and Managa have all said, among others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Diplock. Honourable Pilankulu.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning, everyone in the platform. Chairperson, firstly, I would like to ask the question that has been asked by Honorable Makasi in another way. Chair, the issue of 99-year lease. I just want to check as to how many community members benefiting from that, because it has also been mentioned as a challenge. Is there any strategy or a turnaround strategy that is to be done by the task team in making sure that everybody or everyone around there is going to benefit, instead of benefiting of the few people whom I heard that are people from outside, not mostly people from the Northwest or around our country? Secondly, Chair, what are the fundamental aspects of the 2034 cooling plan drafted by the Northwest PTB and the DDECT? Previously, they were also tasked around starvation as an option. Was this exploited, and what are the views of NSPCA in these regards? On slide 11, Chair, they did mention the issue or the use of euthanasia where applicable. Please, can they elaborate on the situation where it wouldn't applicable? The last question, Chair, was there specs for trophy hunting? If the specs are there or to be considered, is there any cooling or any other measures to reduce the elephant population? What will be the next steps? Will they be sold? If yes, where do those proceeds go? Can they be used to benefit the surrounding communities or perhaps to create jobs? I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bilangul. Honorable Mkiza.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to everyone. Thank you also for the presentation from the department. I just have a few questions to ask the department. The first one is, why did the department deliberately allow the elephants population in Madikwe to spiral out of control despite warnings that were dating back from 2006 and 2017? Maybe for me, I think this is the clear evidence of the failure of both from the officials and the government. And also the other one is who within the department and the board is being held directly responsible for this negligence? Or is the government department once again protecting incompetence at the expense of the community and the environment? Why was the Provincial Elephant Task Team only established in 2025 when the crisis had been visible for years? Is this not the proof of also the government that is also failing? Maybe they need to explain if they are failing to do their work or what. The last question would be, why was the NSPCA, with its legal mandate to protect animal welfare, deliberately excluded from the task team? What is the department hiding from this oversight? Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mkiza. From my side, I only have 2 questions. Honorable Singh, when he was doing his remarks, he implied that all elephant management plans and strategies in the country will have to align with the National Elephant Heritage Strategy that is being developed, which will be tabled in MINMEC. And he further specified the resolutions from the Indaba as having a direct impact on all elephant plans. My question thereof is that how does Northwest understand the impact of the Elephant Heritage Strategy on the ongoing work of the task team, particularly on the elephant management plans of the province? And the other one, I will write on what Honorable Diploko raised earlier, that we had written a letter to Northwest as the committee, but there's no response to the outstanding reports that we have requested, and there was not even a letter to explain the reasons for not submitting these reports, which include the Provincial Task Team's site visit report, and which should take less than a week, I assume, for them to write up the report. And we really need clarity, and also on the proposed elephant population management plan or intervention strategy in light of the developments from what Honorable Singh raised on the with regards to the elephant Indaba. Those are the 2 questions from my side. I assume that these hands that are still up are legacy hands. MEC and your team, I am going to give over to you to respond.
Chairperson, I did have one point I forgot to raise, if you'll give me the opportunity.
Just be brief, Honorable Diplok, please.
Thank you, Chairperson.
So you're cognizant of time.
Yes. My last point was on trophy hunting, Chair, which is not a management tool. It's not something you use to manage populations. Culling is a management tool. It takes a significant numbers of animals involved, even though it is a last resort. trophy hunting is an economic tool, and I'd appreciate if the DEC and NWPTB didn't address trophy hunting as a population management tool. It's an economic driver. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Block. Honorable MEC and the team, can you respond?
No, thanks, Chair, and let me appreciate the inputs by honorable members and key to indicate that one must just briefly say it to the chair that I got so worried when I thought I will receive a written presentation from the NSPCA, and that did not happen for purpose of one to really look into it and respond. And I think this is the second time. So, Chair, if we can just be given that presentation so that we align with whatever that the honorable members wanted us to respond, because at the center of our engagement today is as a result of the submission of the organization. But Chair, also the question that speaks to the National Elephant Heritage Strategy, it is important to indicate to the committee that the province, the same presentation that we have and the process plan of the development of the provincial strategy has been presented in the broader national consultation space, which was led by the DM in KZN. And we have presented our position. And I must say, as a province nationally, we place ourselves at a better position compared to what is happening in KZN, where the management of elephants has now gone beyond the control of all of us. And for us to copy the good practices in case we are to copy from NSPCA, we would want to hear and be advised at this platform, because in our platforms, I have not received any input from there. And what is it that they are doing in KZN, where the people and the elephants are at conflicts, and we learned from KZN. Where we are as a province, Chair, we are at a preventative measure, because besides the species that are the fauna and the flora, we have not reached a devastating state in terms of human conflict like it is happening in other provinces. And we are at an advanced stage of preventative measures. This is a national and an international crisis. If you look at how Zambia is having this crisis, how Zimbabwe is having, but the management strategy remains the same. Chair, I am not in agreement on the failure of government of the Northwest as it is displayed in the committee. This presentation was brought before the portfolio committee of the province, which in my view, if it was a matter of public interest, the people of Northwest are represented, and I'm taking it that the collective of the two portfolio committees, both national and provincial, can't put us as government in the case of the DDECT in a situation where we will lie in parliament. If this presentation has served before the provincial portfolio committee, and which the portfolio committee has even done an on-site visit and has adopted this, and it served in the legislature and it was adopted in terms of the resolutions, it makes me to worry on whether I should change its content, because it will now be a misrepresentation of what is the actual condition in as far as the affairs of the government of the Northwest. However, Chair, I must just throw it also to indicate that we are the first province to amend the Biodiversity Management Act of years ago, before even the 1994, and we are at an advanced stage, and we are also having the same challenges because we are pursuing the transformation agenda, and it is very clear that we do it because we are biased to our people who have previously not benefited. Let me get to the question that was raised by Honorable on his dissatisfaction about the EMI. I would not want to. The position of the portfolio committee is to ensure that we abide by the legislation and lawmaking and public participation, which I think in this case There's nowhere where we contravened the act, and there's nowhere that we had 2 days or 3 days without designations. Actually, the MEC became very proactive because I had to do the vetting and the testing to reduce the number of cases where officials who were designated were forming part. And I'm worried if the committee is concerned about the redesignation of 10 officials who are in court. If the member is saying he's worried about this designation, I am just to be guided, Chairperson. If the committee recommends that I must go and designate people who are charged, people who are still having pending cases, this matter is a collective matter of the national teams of the Green Scorpions and the NPA. But if the committee recommends that the MEC must go and redesignate the 10 officials, including those that are in court, I have no reason not to abide by the recommendations of the honorable members, and they will tell me the law that will then govern such, and also to, because I respect the position of the committee. Chair, on the issue of the community beneficiation, I think the question that is asked is to what is it that we are doing? Chairperson, the complexion of the transformation that we are pursuing in this province will continue to come up with different forms of pushbacks, but we understand that we are on course. On the 23rd of August 2024, the MEC convened all the stakeholders, including the CPAs and the landowners, especially those who are living in the protected areas and they have their land back to them, because for the past 15 years and 20 years they have claimed the land, but they are not utilizing and benefiting from this land. What we have done is, as a result of a broader consultation of the 2024, which has led to the amendment of the Biodiversity Management Act, and we are on course as a province and in its legislature to amend that act, and it has always received also this kind of complexities and pushbacks, but we know we are on course and we are going to get to the right direction. So we have changed the law. We are the first province of the 9 that have changed this law because of the old ordinances, and where we seek to now get the people to benefit. And I think in the larger strategy that deals with biodiversity economy, we will then outline nationally. And next month we are getting to the MINMEC, where the Northwest will present its position. And we are very clear, we have consulted our people and we are agreeing collectively as a province. I'm pleading with Chair that if, I know the prescripts of the law in terms of 115 and 114 of the constitutions allow that we can be played, oversight can be done on us, and we will forever respect the law and we will abide with the collective of this portfolio committee. However, there's a portfolio committee that exists in the province that has adopted and has agreed and has paid an oversight. Maybe at some point, Chair, you can even extend and have a joint portfolio committee so that we are aligned, because where I'm sitting at a panicky mode where I do not know whether to change this content that has already been adopted by the same committee, which I think I will also plead that maybe we need to exchange notes. I will hand over to, but I still maintain that the involvement of the NSPCA, in my view, as I knew information after the last engagement of June, because I happened to regularly receive reports, including now starting to get attendance registers and also the recordings. The submission that was done here, that is not in the form of a written report, is unfair to our people who could have also been part of this committee and actively participated. I will agree that it must be written, and I will give a directive to the PTT for them to process the submissions, because we are at a stage of consultation. We have not concluded anything. Like the DM said, we will consolidate everything in line with the national strategy. We are not in crisis as a province. We are doing management of species and the balance of the ecosystem. We're applying all the legislations. We don't have any conflict. We don't have animals loitering on the streets. If you look at other countries and other provinces in our same country. I wish if this institution is of the best in terms of assisting our people, they can have that case demonstrated in KZN, where people don't sleep, where they are plowing, their crops are taken away by these loitering animals, and there's no voice that represents the people. But if we start to come up with plans where nothing and no one is affected, people who are not even the residents of Northwest and who are not even the direct beneficiaries of the land and its benefits and products are making the loudest noise. And they're even raising funds. I will share with you, Chairperson, how this institution is keeping on following the MEC in the form of government, and they even say, as you comment, they collect monies. It is wrong in law, and it does not represent the majority of our people. Thank you, Chair. I will hand over to the acting CEO to take you through the legislative measures and part of the administration that we are busy doing, but we are on course and we are at the forefront as a province. We are setting the pace of the national agenda, and we are taking it that all of us need to care about creating a balance between our people, our culture, our heritage, and the species that we also have a responsibility to take care of in terms of the applicable legislation and the Constitution, Section 24. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, MEC. Just before I give over to the acting CEO, just a clarity. I think I need to correct it, MEC, that when we had a meeting on the 10th of June, NSPCA presented, they had a written presentation, and your province was represented, the board was also there, and your management was also in that meeting. So it is incorrect that it is the second time that they are not submitting a written report. I just needed to clarify that. I don't want this meeting to leave with a wrong message that we are allowing NSPCA to come and do verbal presentations. That also, it is also available because parliamentary meetings are also available online. So I just needed to correct that. Acting CEO.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to welcome and appreciate the comments made, the inputs, and all the discussion points that have ensued so far about this issue. I even go, directly to some of the technical issues that have been raised. Chairperson, allow me to, because I know this always this issue around, what could have happened from back then and all. Yes, the situation as it is now is what we are facing. We have to solve it, whether what has happened in the past and all. Yes, you will learn to understand that when you deal with issues of navigating wildlife management challenges, it's very uneasy. There's so much happening, whether, it's science that we are ought to apply as the officers who are duly mandated to do so, whether it is issues of enviropolitics that comes through into this space and then distracting and sometimes even hindering application of science and the knowledge that we have to put in place. It's a difficult space. And of course, this whole notion about the commercialization of the emotion, placing of emotional pedestal over these things where people are raising funds, please donate and this and that because they want to cull the animals. We want to oppose them. We navigate a lot of things around this. And I'm saying that, Chairperson, because the history of the elephants in Madikwe, yes, it is true. I think the inference that we made to say maybe that was the problem of the introduction of the elephant, it was in fact a euphemism. In actual fact, yes, the growing population, was noticed, but you must understand that, as I said, the same lodges that have 99 leases in this place, when we had proposed that this year we wanted to begin to remove some of the elephants through hunting. And also when we have agreed with our veterinary services or veterinary regulator that for us to be able to begin to look into the issues of the consumability of the meat and all that, the assessment needs to be done appropriately. And it can only be done when you start removing these animals lethally. And then we wanted to remove at least 25 just for that. But I tell you what, it was all over that stop the killing of those elephants. So there's always those issues that comes into place, and then you will not be surprised that even historically, as it seems to be a good thing to have higher densities of some of these charismatic species, for tourism purposes. And which is the reason why some of the lodges will then go against the removal of these elephants. Because every kilometer you drive in Madikwe, you're probably guaranteed to see a number of elephants. So it works better for that notion. But it can't be allowed to continue at the expense of the environment. Yes, that's where we are. Those are the pressures that faces this decision making in this. The issue about trophy hunting, yes, I don't think anybody has ever presented trophy hunting as a solution to the reduction of the population. But it was part and parcel of the utilization of this sustainable use of this resource as and when we are decreasing them. Of course, we need to cull. Culling, if you ask me, yes, it must be done. And it would be surprising if that report that will come from the PETT does not suggest that we need to cull. It has to happen. If you're talking about issues of contraception and issues of movement of the elephants, yes, they must come integral to the final approach that must be adopted. But I think what has been made clear is that what we will learn from this situation and what we will propose from this situation, it will then form part and parcel of what will then be integrated into the main heritage strategy, which has been developed nationally. And I think that the DM did say that when he engaged the committee. So the communities, it is true, the 99 years leases are not benefiting the communities. Every reserve has a particular carrying capacity when it comes to issues of tourism facilities as well. I already said we have about 34 lodges in that reserve. And those 34 lodges, some of it is true that these contracts were entered into in the previous government or in the old era. And that's why currently PFMA will not allow you to enter in a contract that exceeds 10 years. It will not, because PFMA is the law of the nowadays era. So back then, those things were not there. But those are things that we need to look into closely, and we are busy looking into it. People are not happy about that, Chairperson. And then if we were to establish many more lodges for new owners in Madikwe, we might end up with the problem that we're having now with the elephants, because it will then just be overly saturated. People need to begin to make way to accommodate the new way of doing things, bringing into the fray of benefit, not only just by saying that we appoint them to wash the linens, we appoint them to be the cleaners, and that's how they benefit. No, we have to ensure that they get to the mainstream economic activities of that particular reserve and all the lodges that are there. So we are looking into that. Yeah, so we have started a process of reviewing our laws a while ago. And then we now have a bill that is in the parliament, that is in the legislature. It is going through public participation process now. And we hope that once that has passed, it will ease many challenges that we're facing today. It is in line with the current country's position in terms of the white paper, and it is also in line with the national laws in terms of biodiversity economy and transformation that we must achieve in this sector. I think most of the things MEC already touched on. I would not like to repeat that. The issue of the meetings that NSPCA have attended, we have proved to that, and then we can provide that. That has been done, and then those meetings are intended, yes, to bring into the work of the committee parts and parcel of the work that must come from all these organizations that are interested or are affected. And it was not only the NSPCA. Some of these organizations are here today. I can see them. They were in that part of the consultation forum in Pretoria. So, as I said, we continue to work with them closely, and we will do so. When I presented that who constitute the PTT, I was not necessarily presenting why the NSPCA or whoever cannot make it to the NSPCA. I was only presenting why those who are in the PTT are due to be in that PTT. And I did speak about the issue of the mandate, and I did speak about the issue of the science that we needed from the two universities. And then I will leave it to the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Denga. Mr. Matiba? Mr. Matiba, is there anything that you want to say? That you feel that it was left behind by your team? If he is still in the meeting?
Chairperson, good morning. Is the
Morning,
Deputy
Mr.
Director
Lowe.
General for
Morning, DDG.
Biodiversity.
Morning, DDG.
Yes, Mr. Matiba will not be able to say anything. He's currently chairing a session.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Honorable members, those with the responses, I want to check if there's any follow-up questions. Honorable Paulson and Beach, are those legacy hands? Or you want to do follow-up questions? Okay. Members, is there anyone who want to do a follow-up question? Honorable Paulson? Okay. There's no follow-up questions. Chi, can you, I just want to check, can you just flight the agenda? I want to check where we are.
Okay.
Okay. I do not see any hands except the one of Honorable Paulson, who is not responding. I guess it is a legacy hand. You know, let me thank the Northwest for their responses. And as a committee, honorable members, I think we will have to review our program and see if there is a possibility of us to have a slot so that we can allow Honorable Singh, as he had requested, that if they can be a meeting in November. We will see and check the slot, because our program is very tight of the next term, but we will try our best to have a slot so that we can have that kind of a meeting, so that the FFE can come and present the heritage strategy to our portfolio committee. We have had honorable members the Northwest and also the NSPCA, if they can resend the report that they have sent before the meeting of the 10th, so that all parties can be happy. I think we are now fine. We have got the in-depth of what is happening with the Northwest. And if there's any other things that are coming up, we will reach out. And we've noted also, let me see your comments with regards to the portfolio committee of the province. Yes, we will try to reach out to the portfolio committee so that we can get an understanding as the portfolio committee, national portfolio committee, of what exactly we had agreed on with the portfolio committee. So we will try and do that as you have proposed. Otherwise, honorable members, the time now, it is 3 minutes to 10, and our meeting was scheduled to end at 10 o'clock. With those few remarks, honorable members, colleagues, and the stakeholders that are in the meeting, thank you very much for all your valuable inputs. And also thank you to Honorable Deputy Minister Singh in his absentia for his opening remarks. Thank you very much for always availing yourselves, and also to the A team of our portfolio committee. Thank you very much for always making sure that our portfolio committee meetings, they sit, and also there is no glitches. Thank you very much, and our meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chair.
Chairperson.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chair.
Have a lovely day.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.